I think the worst one is I think they call it stepping stones, where they just have, hey, we took these concrete pillars and we put a little bit of foam on top of them, and then every once in a while, it ain't a pillar. It's just a thing.
Yeah, it'll just sink.
Just sink.
And you have to run across.
And then people go full speed.
Trying to run across rocks in water.
And what happens is the one that sinks
then you
is not the one you hit.
No,
you face planted into the next.
Well, so far, none of our couples have made it all the way round. Let's see if Sheila and Tommy Duncan can do it. Oh, there he starts off with a nice staggered meat curtain. And there he kneels into a thirsty altar boy. Great move.
Bless me, Father, for I've sinned.
Indeed, Ken. And there he's back up on the platform. There's the handoff for Sheila. Good form. Into the potty squat. She can't pull it off. She puts a knee right up into her chin.
Welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast coming at you. From the Slice on Oak Studios, I am Mayor Dave Biddle, the city brainer. With me, as always, is my brother.
I exclusively think of Lord of the Rings.
Oof, man. Well, stranger things have happened. Gabriel Johnson, save us.
Spoiler alert.
Uh-oh.
Okay. The women's team wins the gold medal in gymnastics tonight. We won't see it until 9 o'clock, but they have won it.
Oh, they have won it. Okay. All right. Well, these people will have already known because we're recording this
Thursday,
on Tuesday. Yeah.
Not a spoiler.
Not a spoiler. No spoiler. Are you ready to talk 2003?
Love it.
Wait, hold on a second. He's back by popular demand, ladies and gentlemen, Jesse from Play and Trade. Is it your preferred nomenclature?
Sure.
Yeah, your preferred surname?
Hey,
Jessica.
go for it.
Sure. Jesse, you were with us last week. However, 30 seconds to explain yourself. Go.
Jesse Huber, own plane trading Brainerd now. I've lived in the Lakes area my entire life. That's pretty much it.
All right.
Oh, wow. Super exciting. Okay. Well, let's save this ship. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Be Kind Rewind. 2003. For those of you who have not been with us in the past, Be Kind Rewind is the part of the podcast in which we talk about a specific year. In this case, 2003. We have two parts of it, the original part, and then part deux. Part one is about music, pop culture, news, television, video games, because of this guy here. Part two...
Mostly because of you guys.
We're super nerdy. We try so hard not to talk about video games, but we're super nerdy. And this 2003 is right in the peak of my, hey, I'm supposed to be going to college. I have no idea how I did it because I was full-time college, 40 hours a week, full-time job, 40 hours a week, and still playing way too many video games.
Yeah, see, you did the opposite. That was like my hiatus period, honestly. Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and start things off right away with the soundtrack of our lives. We're only going to talk about two different things from music from the year 2003. But the first one is the introduction of 50 Cent.
Get rich or die trying.
Let's go after it because I maybe people knew of 50 Cent prior to 2003, but
Somebody did. They shot him 9 times.
Hey, shot 9 more times than Trump.
8 more times. 8 more times.
Are you sure?
Oh, okay. All right. Getting political to start things off. Could have been glass. Could have been. Hey, you know when those bullets were flying at you? I bet something else hit you. It made you bleed. All right. Anyways, let's talk about 50 Cent though for a little bit because pretty interesting. Bursts onto the scene and just kind of takes over. And then does the whole thing that happens with the rap universe where they have a gravitational pull.
Yes.
Where they just take all the people around them, suck them right in onto their labels or, get them onto their tracks. And you just get this explosion of individuals, which is interesting.
I'm probably speaking out of my ass right now, but I do think his first album was produced by Dre. So he was kind of brought into a whole group.
Well, he always says that Eminem is to him what Dr. Dre is to Eminem.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, but then people gravitated to him as well to the point where, you just get all the way to being the mogul.
What, they're going to party like it's his birthday.
That was the one.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Like that's the Pauline days.
The Pauline days, he says. Wow. Super specific reference to a bowling alley of all freaking things that had a kids' night. I would call it 18 and under.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, 50 Cent. Interesting that prior to this point, no 50 Cent.
Nope.
After this point, a lot of 50 Cent.
To this day, 50.
50. A lot of it. Favorite 50 Cent song?
In the Club is easily the best.
Damn it, he stole mine.
Coming right out of the gate strong. All right. The other music we want to talk about from 2003 is the White Stripes.
Okay.
We had not talked about the White Stripes, been around evidently since 1997, according to my reading of Wikipedia. But this is when they absolutely exploded. They had a couple of pretty big songs prior to this. But this is Seven Nation Army.
Nation Army.
Nothing like that. I mean,
is the pump up song. For 20 years now, it's played at every sporting event in the country every single time.
So much so that my son had to pick walkout songs for baseball for going up to bat. And he said, this is a 17-year-old now in 2024 said, that song has been played too many times.
Yeah. It's like a round ball rock.
A little bit.
Man, watching the Olympics, there's a lot of round ball rock going on right now.
Round ball rock is back. John Tesh, round ball rock, you fan? NBA on NBC?
yeah, it's
Da da
one
da
of
da
them.
da da da.
I like it. I mean,
Especially like having it screamed at me.
what were some of the other ones they always used to play?
Are you getting back into jock jams?
We're going jock jams?
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
oh yeah.
You gotta be careful. This could just turn.
Okay, we'll get you with the jock jam.
This could turn into nothing but a bunch of mid '90s beats.
Yeah, because
Pump up the jam.
Yeah, you missed tag team. One of the better ones.
Why's it got to look like a bar of soap?
What?
What was the
this
Joe
episode?
Walsh song?
Okay,
Joe Walsh song they always used to play.
Oh, are you talking about like?
Life's been good.
No, it was the instrumental one.
I don't know,
How'd
man.
it go? They played it like every sporting event. in the
Probably.
90s.
I'm not a Walsh fan myself. No, I'm just not.
I forgot the name of it.
You want to know why? Because I hate the fucking Eagles, man.
He had a couple good solo songs.
I feel about the same as I do with John Fogerty.
Oh,
Like, put me in, coach.
Oh yeah.
The fuck out of here. Hey,
That was kind of a jerk.
we're talking about Seven Nation Army, though.
The
We are
White
so far. We are so far off base
Yeah.
right now. White Stripes, Seven Nation Army, really cool freaking song. Again, they had a couple of hits off of their other albums, and they had become known for kind of their music videos as well.
Right.
You know, the first one was with the Legos,
Yeah, it was that Fell in Love with a Girl.
which is pretty cool.
When Seven Nation Army is the drums on the steps.
So the version of Seven Nation Army that I know is it's like triangles that keep zooming in. It just zooms in the whole time. And it is, I will say, one of the coolest music videos because it's just like watching that as someone that has clipped video and done editing and you know has done some visual effects type stuff. Really cool for the time. How you just, because it's just consistent the whole time. It's just consistently moving in and then layering them on top of each other as it comes
Because that was
through.
just that with Jack and Meg, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just them, and
was
it
a
just
good
keeps
video.
zooming in, and like it looks like an A because it's triangle after triangle after triangle, layer after layer. It's really cool, and yeah, that song went from just being something cool on the radio to being something that is played at every single sporting events for 20 years. So
It's got the lasting power of hey.
It turns out if you just say hey over top of a beat, you're good to go.
That's the song I'm talking about.
That wasn't Joe Walsh, though.
Who was that?
I don't know.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
I don't think anyone knows what you guys are talking about.
No.
Hey.
That's not Joe Walsh, is it? No. So look it up. Somebody look it up. I'm just going to look up Jock Jam's Hey, who is.
So I saw Joe Walsh in concert once.
Did you?
And it was the worst concert I've ever been to.
Really?
His voice was totally shot and it just sucked. And man, I hate the fucking Eagles.
I'm right there
Never
with
been
you,
a
dude.
huge fan of it.
I can't stand it.
Is it actually called the Hey song? I just Googled Jock Jam songs, and the third one on the list is something called the Hey song.
Yeah, the Hey song, Jock Jams.
The song by Jock Jams.
Oh, so yeah, you were close. The Eagles, same as. Final thoughts on
Rock and Roll by Gary Glitter.
okay.
Gary Glitter. Uh-oh. Move on.
Yeah.
Move on quick.
We're getting gay here.
Forget I talked about that song now.
Come on, Gary. All right, final thoughts on White Stripes before we move on.
I find it weird that I didn't recognize a single other song on the album.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really look that hard into it, but I do remember that song was the one from that album. But I didn't remember there not being another good song.
There probably were plenty
Did
of other
Icky
good
Thump
songs.
come later?
Icky Thump is the
that was
next album. Yeah.
Is that the next
two
album?
more?
Two more?
Yeah, there's
Jesus.
Devil Get Behind Me or something.
Wow.
And then Icky Thump in 2007.
So they were just kicking out album every year.
Every year or two.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Best two-man band of all time. Two-person band.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really that difficult though when the other two are the one from There's Something About Mary.
Oh my God.
And then Tenacious D, which is not a
doesn't
band.
exist
But
anymore.
they don't exist.
Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah, there you go. I did read about Seven Nation Army. I was like, well, what is Seven Nation Army? It is a song about gossip. So it is about him and his ex-wife, obviously, and just all the gossip that is happening. And so I guess it's a story of a man coming to a town and a bunch of gossip and him being like, I've had enough of this gossip.
Specifically, is that your sister or your wife?
Yeah, well,
Because that was the question on everybody's mind.
yeah, we almost got through talking about White Stripes.
Without bringing up like
Those
was it
things
brother
that-
and sister.
The
or
thing
was
that
it
their
one?
the thing that their biggest song is about, because that was like from the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's his sister. Well, no, it's not his sister. It's his ex-wife. Well, how does that get confused? Would be my question.
Somebody says, that's his sister.
Just at one concert.
Yeah. That's all it takes.
Sweet sister, dude.
It's just another one of them.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Yeah, isn't that
all
crazy,
the
though?
Marilyn Manson.
Could be
Yeah.
both.
From back
yeah.
in the day. Like,
Oh, yeah. The Marilyn Manson one's super weird.
Yeah.
How did everybody know? It was before the internet.
That was before.
Well, but Marilyn Manson was also for a while supposed to be the kid from Growing Pains, the neighbor from Growing Pains, which is also not true.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Well, it kind of looks like him.
It was the Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years. Sorry, what did I say?
Growing Pains.
Growing Pains. Yeah, same thing. No, it's not.
No, the neighbor was like Booger and growing.
Yeah.
Richard Millhouse Stabone.
All right, so let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. That's music from 2003. Not a whole lot. There was some Avril Lavigne. There was some Beyonce. It's all things
The Strokes.
The Strokes. Okay. Yeah.
Room on Fire, I think. That was
Okay.
a pretty good album. I like that one.
Yeah.
Gary Glitter still played.
Still is playing in my head right now. So the next on the list is television. We didn't really have any news from 2003.
Yeah, what blew up, Gabe?
Iraq.
I was going to say that was all.
Oh yeah.
That was all.
How are we not going to talk about shock and awe?
Yes.
Gabe's,
was great.
Gabe's thing on the podcast has been bombs and explosions. And then in 2003, shock and awe happened, which was bombs and explosion.
Was that the WAMD year? It was, wasn't it?
That's when they put live video cameras on the whole city of Iraq like fireworks. And then they just sorry. You get what I mean. It's just a city. That's it. It's just this little bitty city.
It's like Gaza.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's just a little. Yeah. Well, it's very similar now. And then we just watched them blow the shit out of entire city on live television.
Mm-hmm. I covered it in 2001 with 9/11.
Yeah.
That bombing in the 90s was fun. It was light. It was cute.
You say.
Since then,
everybody sat down and watched
like
the oil
United
fields
States
burn.
have been fucking assholes and
bit.
bombing everybody. A
little bit.
It's not fun.
No. And I just think it's ridiculous that they said, all right, everybody, get ready. This is going to be fucking sweet.
Shock and awe. Tune in. CNN, 7 o'clock.
Tune in live. We're going to blow the shit out of these people. And then did. Yeah. So it wasn't like, that's the part that's crazy. It's like 2003 is like the Xbox of world events. It's like, hey, you've been having some fun with that Nintendo. Guess what? Fucking boom. Yeah, so there's that.
So there's the news.
News.
Oh, John Ritter died.
In 2003?
I think that was
Same
03.
day as Johnny
Okay.
Cash.
Was it?
Both in
Yeah.
2003?
Yeah.
Couple deaths. We don't focus on a lot of deaths in terms of celebrities. We just talk about bombings. You know,
Just civilians.
just civilians.
Transition from
just civilians. All right, let's talk real fast television. Before we do, though, we got a little transitional nudge here. Last year, 2002, we talked about a little movie called Kung Pow.
Kung Pow. Enter the fist.
I have a pretty severe take on that, Jesse.
Yeah, I don't know why we were into that movie.
Okay, so we've got a fan.
Yeah.
Jesse, I have walked out of 2, maybe potentially 3 movies in my life. Kung Pow is one of those movies. I went back and tried to watch Kung Pow again. I also did not finish Kung Pow again. Tell me why I should watch Kung Pow.
Honestly, I rewatched it recently, and there were a few moments. It's like, oh yeah, I kind of. But overall, it's like, wow, this is pretty mediocre.
I would go
sense of
lower
humors
than that.
were weird back then, I guess. Comedy kind of changes a little bit for you as you age.
I think for Kung Pow, and we talked about this, is just it was a fresh take on, you had some, like Mike Myers in the Wayne's World movies where he's doing the fake dubbing. You'd had a little bit of that, but the idea that you could take an entire product and completely redub it, not in the Power Rangers realm of things where you're making it something that isn't supposed to be funny, that you're just literally making fun of what's happening on the screen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that aspect of it was probably the coolest part of it.
Yeah, there's some very funny bits. We talked about it. There's some very funny bits.
There are a few that stick out, but then when you get to the cow fight scene, it's like,
a lot of money was spent on that movie. Well, in the same vein as Kung Pow, I'm sorry that you like that movie. A little show showed up on television called MXC.
Yes.
Which is great because the full name is Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, MXC. I get it. Yeah, somehow you threw an X in there. There's an X in extreme, right?
well, yeah.
Yeah,
Everything
letter.
was extreme.
yeah. But MXC is the exact same idea. MXC is a television show from Japan.
Takeshi's Castle.
I believe you are correct. Yes. I'm not even going to look it up because that sounds correct. And even if I read it, I'm not going to do any better. But it wasn't what they recreated it to be in the US, which was just a funny, slapsticky spoof type show, which now they've kind of turned into Wipeouts of the world.
Right.
And that sort of thing. But it was a show that ran in the 80s, and then 20 years later, they decided, hey, let's take this old show and completely redub it. And I will have to say that I still love it.
It is excellent.
I went back and watched it. Did you watch
I
any of it?
haven't watched it for a long time, but it is excellent. I promise you.
It's super childish, just like Kung Pow.
Yeah.
Just like Kung Pow. A lot of really high-pitched voices and stuff.
That's the brilliance of it, though. It's like when they get hurt, it's like, oh!
And they redo all the sound effects. I only watched a handful of episodes. I probably watched like 5. It moves pretty quick, actually.
Really quick.
Really quick, yeah.
It's because there's hundreds.
Yeah.
There's like 100 people that all try to do the same obstacle course, basically.
Yeah.
And it's just go, 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 go.
Yeah, and they always make it that it's like the firefighters versus the
Right.
versus the secretaries,
the plumber.
Yeah,
This guy's a plumber from so and so.
yeah. So they make up backstories for these people. They make up names for them. Every time they come up to do the event, they say something really fast and they just make up some nonsense, which is
Right.
the best part of the show. Like hamburgers are great. They just run. A lot of injuries. I would say there has to be a ton of injuries in that show because they hit things hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like the dumbed down Wipeout.
No.
People were getting hurt.
Yeah,
That
they
Wipeout was all foam. This
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
legit.
This was like concrete that they draped foam over, then let 100 people run over,
Run
and we're
as
like,
fast as you can.
Yeah, it's still fine at the end of the day.
I watched the first episode before
Okay.
coming over here. And in a half an hour, I think I went, 7 times.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. And at one point, one of the announcers says, and that right there, they'd go back in slow motion, and that right there is the moment where his femur turns to powder.
I really liked that in the credits, and I don't remember what her name was, but it just lists a female's name and it just says the women, like or something along those lines. Like she is all the women. It's just, hey, we've got all these. We've got like 5 cast members. One's a girl. She does all the girls.
She plays all the female.
Yep. Yeah, I went back thinking, God, I've watched this show a million times because it was just on late at night, Spike TV.
I was going to say, was that Spike?
Yeah, Spike TV, which we have not talked about. I don't know when.
Does that exist
Yeah, when did
anymore?
it come around?
No, Spike is
Before
gone.
2003.
Yes. Yeah, prior to 2003, Spike TV, which was a network geared at men. And there was a lot of this.
The Maxim magazine audience, basically.
Yep. Yeah.
Spike TV, formerly known as the Nashville Network,
TNN.
debuted
Yeah, that's
on
right.
June 16th, 2003.
Okay, look at us. Ladies and gentlemen, 2003. Oh, just a hallmark year.
The
for
Nashville
television.
Network, TNN changed to Spike.
Yeah, they went from like running Dukes of Hazzard reruns to
to running to Cashie's Castle reruns. The one thing I will say that I was missing from the experience of watching it now, because I think it's on Amazon. I think it's on Prime.
I found it on Tubi.
Did you? Okay.
Commercials.
Yeah. Well, but that's what I was missing. The experience that I know of MXC is a little bit of people getting hurt, and then commercials for Chia Pets.
Chia Pets.
That was the late night stuff.
I was missing the late night commercials. The late night
Where's the Axe body spray?
the late night commercials from 2003 were just off the wall bonkers. It was always some kind of pan that they were trying to sell you. It was like, this pan's different.
They're still doing that.
They are. This is the New York copper pan.
Yeah, well,
Now
now
they get the Hex
Everything was
Clap,
copper.
sponsored by Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, well now they've gotten into the material. Before it was always like because they always had Teflon coating. That was the big thing was Teflon. So they were all Teflon.
It's the space age.
But they were all different shapes. There were every single shape of every single pan you could come up with. Like, hey, did you want eggs that are the hexagon egg?
Oh,
We got you covered.
microwave your bacon.
So I will say that was the one thing I was absolutely missing. The show moved way too quick for me. Way too quick.
Yeah.
It was just moving. I was like, I need these breaks where I go get a burrito.
I have to breathe for a while. Yeah.
Anything else? Any lasting takes?
I will say it was like 86 to 90 was the original run in Japan.
Okay.
And that made me think, what were we doing in America?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if somebody did the MXC with American Gladiators?
Reverse. Yeah, the reverse MXC.
Yeah.
Oh man, the Stallone.
That's great.
Oh
That's
yeah.
a great idea.
That would be awesome because there's some great footage. We talked about this when we talked about American Gladiators. My favorite part of American Gladiators is they took like one of those chairs for like directors on movie sets where they'd like put you on a hoist and hoist you up in the air. And they just put a dude with a microphone and they just brought him up to the guys on top of me. And like, hey, talk about how you knocked that dude onto the cement. This is so fucking awesome. It's just,
Imagine redubbing that.
Yeah.
he's 30 feet in the fucking air. He's just sitting on a chair with a microphone. It's like, hey, how cool was that?
We might have to do that.
Oh my gosh.
Jesse, take on MXC.
Now talking about, I haven't seen that forever. I'm going to go rewatch it because that was, like you say, I remember seeing it and being like, ow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the worst one is like, I think they called it stepping stones, where they
Right.
just have, hey, we took these concrete pillars and we put a little bit of foam on top of them. And then every once in a while, it ain't a pillar. It's just a thing.
Yeah, it'll just sink.
Just sink.
And you have to run across.
And then people go full speed.
Trying to run across rocks in water.
And what happens is the one that sinks
Then you
is not the one you hit.
No, you face plant
No,
into
no.
the next
you
one.
like, oh yeah, you get just
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
man.
broken ribs,
Yes.
broken ankles, all sorts of missing teeth.
Yeah, there's one where, and it's at the end of their gauntlet of things where it's just these rollers, right? And you got to go across the rollers. And so they all get bent.
That's the one where you lose. Where I watched some lady lose her teeth today. That's one of the times where I went, "Oh man," because she hit her face on that thing so hard.
So then you hit your face, you get bent in half, you twist, and then you fall into 6 inches of water.
yeah, they didn't have like the big pools.
No, they fall, and then you're like, ooh, but it's water. And then they stand up, you're like, it's ankle high.
We've had reports that one of our prisoners is missing, but don't worry, Guy is on orange alert and nothing will get by me, Guy.
Hey, baby doll.
Guy likes.
What a great show. Okay, I think we can move on from that. Are we ready to move on from that? I think we're all in agreement that show is amazing.
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad we talked about it. Scott's favorite show of all time, Venture Brothers, go.
Where do you even begin?
Well, at the beginning.
2003.
Yeah.
Give me the plot.
Yeah.
So it started as just kind of retooling, not necessarily like Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, was really taking old
Yes.
Hanna-Barbera
Yep.
properties and repurposing them for a new show, whereas this was just kind of taking the vibe of that.
Yeah.
So it started off as kind of like a Johnny Quest spoof.
It's exactly what it is.
You got the scientist with his 2 kids and their bodyguard, and they just go and do adventures and whatever.
Yep.
And it's just hilarious.
It is-
It's so it starts as a spoof.
Yes.
And over over 2 seasons, it grew into something, and then once it got into season 3 and 4, and it just blew up into its own universe.
Yep.
And I just very much love what those guys did because it's only made by 2 guys.
Yep.
It's Jackson Public and Doc Hammer, and they do everything. They write it, they draw it, they direct it. So it takes a very long time. It released in 2003. The final season, the series finale, which was supposed to be season 8, came out 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it took 20 years to make 8 seasons.
Yep. Yeah.
But that was part of the beauty of it.
Yep.
Because it's just a show that I loved so much, and then between season 1 and 2 I watched, and then there was a pretty big wait for season 3.
Yep.
But then from 3 to 4 it was like 3 years.
Yeah.
And so now you're just watching it over and over again. Now you're getting the DVD and listening to the DVD commentary, which is, again, just the 2 guys that make the show talking about the show that they make. And half the time, they're not even talking about the show. They're just spitballing.
Doing a podcast.
So you can hear just the way their brains work.
Yeah.
And then you have then watching like Comic Con and Dragon Con,
So it's the anticipation, the buildup
Yes.
of the coming
Yes.
season.
So you're just waiting and waiting and waiting and getting whatever kind of content from these guys that you can until the next season drops 3 years later.
Yeah, and so you're absolutely right. It starts off and it's a spoof of like Johnny Quest and then like 60s superheroes, essentially.
Yeah. So it's all about the hierarchy and the politics of villains and supervillains.
Yes.
Oh.
So there's
a league of villains and a league of heroes.
So it's kind of G.I. Joe there. You have
Kind
your
of minions, like.
Yes.
So you have your OSI, your
Yes.
your Office of Secret Intelligence, which is like the FBI secret whatever, and then you have the Guild of Calamitous Intent, which represents the bad guys. Oh, sorry, not the bad guys, the antagonists.
Yes. Then there's a whole plot line that takes in James Bond type scenario with it. It's great. It's a funny show bit by bit. It's a bit chaotic if you're trying to like follow the full story. Like if you put it on season 1 and just start watching it, about season 4, you're like, what in the fuck is going on? Because there is so much happening and you forget that the way this has been consumed is very slow. So like the people that have watched this and consumed it 1,000 times.
I totally missed out, you're saying.
Basically.
So if I would go
Yes.
back and watch it, I wouldn't get the experience of being a Venture Bros
I'm the
fan.
same
Exactly.
way. I
Exactly.
never got. I don't know how. I never. Yeah.
You cannot experience that show the way I experienced that show.
Yeah. It's
And, like I literally grew up with the show, like from 16 to 36,
consuming it all
becoming
the
an
time.
adult.
Yeah.
Almost.
Eventually.
Almost.
But yeah, there's some very funny bits. Patrick Warburg is Samson, which is the bodyguard. His character is exactly what you expect.
He's just the most badass man on the planet.
Yes,
He
and
just
Simple.
can almost do no wrong, except he is a bit of a meathead.
yeah. But played exactly the way you would think it would be played. And it's just great. There are some bits in that show. The one about she has the saddest tits is one of the funniest bits of television I've ever seen. And it's them flying in a jet and they're talking about a stripper that has the saddest tits of all time.
Yeah. They're like 2 suicide notes stuffed in a glitter bra.
Mournful tits.
It's like she got $1 worth of change in some old socks and then just stuffed them to her chest.
See, I got cornered by Robin last night. Almost had to chew off my own arm to get away.
Oh, that poor woman has the saddest tits. Damn depressing.
Right? Yeah, they're like the Notebook sad.
Tits are like coming home from school and finding out that your old man ran over your cat sad. Those things are like a little kid with progeria cracking all his ribs trying to catch a Nerf ball. Just sad.
So the show's great. The show is great, but yeah, it is chaotic. And by the end of it, even I, who have consumed a lot of it, was like, oh man, I gotta like go back and rewatch this again to like try and figure out where the hell we're going with this, because there's a lot of characters, there's a lot going on. They're all spoofs of something for the most part. Every character is a spoof of something.
Yeah, there's no other show that tackles like TV tropes.
Yes, TV
more
tropes.
than this show.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if these guys just like went on like the TV tropes website and just found
and just made fun of it.
And just like, okay, this is a thing that happens in shows. Now we're gonna do that our way.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's probably enough to get into that show on this particular podcast. But I highly recommend it. Scott, you were the one that got me into it about season 2. I would say you had gotten through season 2. So go back and consume this. You at night were falling asleep to the commentary.
Yeah.
Which is funny because in this show, one of the things is that the 2 boys have these pods that they sleep in that as they're sleeping, teach them things.
That's their school.
And that's how Scott consumed this. Was literally sleeping with this goddamn show on and listening to these guys talk about it. But it's hilarious. There are some really funny bits. And honestly, the mournful tits it's one of the funniest things that's ever come across the television. I love it.
I want to build 2 little caskets and give her kids a tasteful, dignified funeral.
All right, moving on from that. This one, Jesse, came from you. Punked.
Yeah, that came out. That was a big deal.
2003. Let's talk about it. Give us your go on it.
Yeah, that was the now not so popular Ashton Kutcher.
Is he not so popular? He just barely exists.
Well, his good friend Danny.
Yeah,
he did something bad.
His friend Danny was a
He
rapist.
tried raping John Travolta's daughter in that one movie.
In that one movie, yeah, where he didn't have a face. Yeah, so his friend Danny was a rapist.
Okay.
And then he wrote a letter saying, Danny's a great guy.
Oh, yeah, they defended the
worst part about it is the
hypocrisy. And so then people are like, you know what? I don't know. I mean, I know he's your friend and whatnot, but let's not write the letter.
Right.
Like, hey, you know, I grew up with the guy. We were on a show together. We were on each other a lot. I've seen good from him. This sounds bad.
Give him a hug, give him a pat on the back, but
And say goodbye.
Best of luck to you. I'm anti-rape.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, continue forward. So this was...
What was the premise of Punked?
Well, yeah, I would say it was pretty groundbreaking for the time.
It was, it was basically he would prank celebrities, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Not just random people getting pranked. It was like, I remember a couple,
You saw Justin Timberlake's
Justin
guitars.
Timberlake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he freaked. That was a good one.
Yeah.
There was one where he was outside and they're like, didn't they like,
it was a moving company. Or
they were repossessing and they're like taking all the stuff and he's just freaking out. Yeah.
So yeah, the shows like this had been done. You know, you had your Candid Camera. These types of shows had been done, and it's very similar to like a Jackass as well, where you plan the prank and then you pull the prank on. But in like Jackass, it was more like buckshot. You know, you were going in and you were just shooting at a bunch of people and seeing what you could get.
Yeah, it was more random public stuff.
Same thing with like, what's that show now? The Impractical Jokers.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Same type of content or concept where you would just go and shoot it a bunch of times and then just release the one that's funny. This was ultra specific to individuals. Like, we are going to take a celebrity, we are going to figure out how to get them specifically and then execute the actual thing, which is what made it so unique. Was, yeah, you got like one go at this, because after you fuck it up, it ain't coming back from it. No. I'm sure it happened, but you know, yeah, it's just a crazy premise to a show to actually have work. Because you would also think that after like the first 3, people would be like,
people would be a little savvy.
Yeah.
Especially celebrities.
Yeah.
but would you think, like, when something's going wrong in your life, would you think,
Ashton!
where's Ashton? Where's Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah, that's right, because he'd always pop out at the end.
Which was the dumbest part. For me, I always thought it was so cheesy.
It was cheesy.
Yeah, like the whole thing is hilarious until you jump out of the van and they're like, ah! And they always gave him a weird side hug.
Right, because they didn't like him, and they were
Like,
just,
they weren't like, you son of a bitch.
he supports rapists.
At the time, was fully invested in friendship with the rapist as well. So, but yeah, I think an interesting show that went on forever too. It felt like
Did it?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
again,
I feel like there was like 3 seasons.
well, but again, okay, so 3 seasons of this, right? Let's talk about what 3 seasons of a show where you're in Los Angeles pranking celebrities.
Yeah.
There's a lifespan to that.
Yeah,
Sure.
that has a short shelf life.
I don't think 3 seasons is what I would expect that lifespan to be.
So there was 5 seasons with
Yeah.
Ashton Kutcher. Then in
See?
2012, it came back with celebrity guest hosts.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Oh.
And then King Bach and Storm Power did it in 2015.
Yeah, I don't
And then
remember
Chance
any
the
of
Rapper
those.
did it in 2020,
Yeah,
21.
okay, see,
Okay.
it's been
So
going on forever.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
the show that never ends.
Yeah.
Does MTV still exist?
Yeah, where is this
Yeah.
airing? On
Yeah.
TNN?
Yeah.
That's
With
the
King
best
Bach
thing
and
we learned
Storm
today.
Power, it was on BET.
Okay.
Doesn't say where Chance the Rappers were.
Interesting. I think the best thing we've learned today is the TNN. to Spike TV. That's
The
crazy.
Nashville network.
The Nashville network became Spike. Cool show, right?
Yeah.
You said
it had its moment in time, and I just remember, because that was first couple of years we got cable, and a lot of those shows were on, and that was one that kind of stuck out.
I think this is the beginning of the adoption on a mass scale of the cable / satellite. I think the amount of people having access to MTV and some of these later networks that we're going to get to, Spike TV as well, way higher than what it was. I would say it probably started around 2000, 99, 2000-ish probably is when there was a big spike in it. But yeah, I think this is when the majority of people now have moved into where they have access to these channels now.
Yep. Not just growing up with the rabbit ears and the 3 channels.
Yeah. Right. So you're starting to see this different style of content.
And there was 10 to 15 years of pure bliss and great content. And then everybody cut the fucking cord and we're all paying more for worse content.
And I was on the front end of that. Was like, fuck that. I ain't paying for this anymore. Cut the cord. And now I regret everything that's ever happened. Going alongside of Punk'd, I think is right in the same vein, Scare Tactics.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
So you brought this up as well. I was not a consumer of Scare Tactics then, but again, same concept, wildly specific. You take one individual, you plan something out for this one individual, and in this case, it's doing weird shit to scare them.
Yeah, and it was usually like a friend or a family member that they'd put up to do it, and yeah, there were some pretty wild ones.
Well, let's talk about it. What's the best one? What's the best one?
My favorite still is the rat monster dude.
Oh, the PETA guy? I remember that one.
That one sticks out the most, and
that's the only one I remember.
So they take a dude that's into PETA, not the sandwich, but the treatment of animals.
And take him to an animal lab.
Yeah, like some experimental animal lab, and there's this little guy dressed up as this rat monster hiding in a cabinet.
I believe Dave calls them midgets.
I don't like you did it right when I took a drink too, so I couldn't even respond. I had to make gestures with my hand while I swallowed. No. Well, okay, maybe in episode 1, but no. Yeah, so they dress a little person up as a rat monster, and then I will say
he scurries around the room.
Yeah,
he scurries
before he pops out. They kind of build
so
it up.
You don't really get a good look at him. So he opens up the cabinet. And he's in there.
And this guy has a pretty wild reaction.
I would say an overreaction, but in terms of television, a perfect reaction.
Yeah. Oh, he screams.
Yeah.
He screams and cowers and frantically tries to escape.
Yeah, they had to pull him back in. I don't know how they got him back in that room because his first reaction was out the door.
Yeah, why would you go back in?
Yeah.
And he's a PETA activist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who didn't say we need to save these animals.
At one point,
we need to go get a gun.
Let's get out of here. Leave these poor animals like this? You can come back with some guns, some mace. You want to shoot the animals? No, dude, whatever that is crawling over there.
This show is so wild. Oh man. And there are more of it that as well.
There's a lot more.
Yeah. There was one that I saw where they had a guy and another guy in an argument, and the guy goes out and jumps off the balcony and they very quickly stage down at the bottom a dead body.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's like, ha, gotcha.
You made your friend kill himself.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of ones where they murdered people in front, and they are just
Yeah, this show was fucking wild. Yeah.
I did not know that.
No?
There was a lot of, it was funny because there were two types of people. You seeing the fight or flight type people.
Right.
Because some people, they had to whoa, it's just, you're on Scare Tactics because they went for him.
Or follow the friend over the balcony.
Oh God.
Or just like, what have I done? Oop, off I go
I
too.
cannot live with myself.
Right.
Yeah, you're running a high risk. Well, so you've seen the movie The Game, right? With Michael Douglas. If you have not seen the movie The Game with Michael Douglas, go watch it.
What year was it released?
97.
Missed it.
Yep. But similar idea, right? You take this guy through this whole journey of, like, isn't it? What's going on? There's a game being played, or is there a game being played? Are you being punked? Are you not being punked? And yeah, same idea. I was like, what happens at the end when you've totally fucked with someone's life? Like, what happens then? It probably doesn't end well.
No.
I would say that's why this show isn't around anymore.
Shannon Doherty hosted it.
So I was surprised by that. First season, Shannon Doherty.
And Stephen Baldwin.
Then Stephen Baldwin, a wild pivot. Mm-hmm. That is a wild pivot.
Two different characters.
That's a bit of a flip.
Both from mid-90s movies. Mm-hmm. Rest in peace, Doherty, just passed away.
And I lost the page. I forget who the host was the rest of the time.
It was Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan ended it. Yep.
So if Brian wanted to get a gun and come back and shoot the little rat dude, animal loving my ass.
So yeah, that's a pretty fun one. I've got one more for television, then we'll move on. Can we talk really fast about Nip Tuck?
Okay.
So I brought this up because I remember this being a big deal. Mm-hmm. I went and looked it up, and turns out it was a big deal.
Yeah.
The first season was the highest rated basic cable television show around.
It was basic cable?
Yeah, it was FX.
Oh, I thought it was HBO.
Nope, it was FX. Yeah, you would think it was HBO because it
felt like an HBO show.
Risque.
It was. Yeah, that was the first type of show of that caliber to be so like, what?
So I'm not a blood kind of guy. But you told me to watch it.
Yep.
And it's like, I watch House.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I can not look at the TV when they're doing the surgery stuff. This is a lot of surgery.
A lot of surgery.
And then the kid gave himself a circumcision.
Oh, that's right. That's right away. That's like episode 2.
And I'm like, I'm out.
I always call them eyebrows.
Yeah, eyebrows. Yes. It is the son in the show. His name is Matt in the show. So Nip Tuck was a show about two plastic surgeons.
Yeah, they were like best friends in college. And
yep.
Yeah.
And the one wanted to fuck the other one's wife.
Yeah, they had a little... yeah, that's right.
They probably did. It went on for like 8 seasons.
It turned out they did, because wasn't Matt
season
Julian's?
5.
Yeah.
Season 5.
That wasn't even that pussy's kid.
So, okay. So let's dial this back real quick. You've got your straight man versus your wild card. Those are the two buddies, right? They've got a business together. They've been in business. They've been friends forever. The one is very much into the rock star lifestyle of plastic surgery. The other one is trying to be a family man, but yet his family life is awful.
His family hates him. Yeah.
His family hates him. I watched the first episode and was like, okay, I remember why I liked this at the time, because when you're, at that point, 21, I think probably 20, 21 years old, you're like, oh yeah, it's boobs, first of all. Mm-hmm. It's just softcore porn.
Strippers and blow.
It's literally softcore porn. Mm-hmm.
That part's fun. That's light.
Yeah, well, for the most part, until it's not, because then, like, as I was watching it, I was like, the kid's 16 and he's like going to the guy's taking him to strip clubs and getting him blowjobs by porn stars. Just lighthearted fun. Just lighthearted fun.
Hey, just boys being boys.
So this show is created by Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy goes on to be the guy that makes American Horror Story. And you can definitely tell.
That absolutely checks out.
Yeah,
even right down to the intro was really
yeah. He did this show and then immediately went into American Horror Story. This went on for, I think it's for sure 7 seasons. It may have been 8. No, maybe it's 6. Anyways, There,
Hell of a lot longer than I watched.
I made it a long time. So it was 7 seasons, 2003 to 2010. Exactly 100
would be
episodes. Okay, 8 seasons. Exactly 100 episodes. I had a very specific point where I lost interest in this show. I don't know if you've ever seen Happy Days, but Happy Days has the term
Jump the shark.
Well, we have the term, and it's from
Happy Days.
What do you feel is that for Nip Tuck?
Nip Tuck has jumping the shart.
Jumping the shart.
So Nip Tuck, at this point, YouTube still doesn't even exist. And maybe it does by the time this happened, but there's this episode in season 5 in which a girl is in a hot tub and she takes a bunch of laxatives and she ends up in the hot tub. That was straight out of a video that was off the internet,
right,
from the same year.
That was probably on E-Bomb's World.
Probably. Yeah. I saw break.com. It was the farthest I could see back.
Okay.
But yeah, probably E-Bomb's World. It was pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
So you just took a video you saw off the internet of a girl in a hot tub, which may not even be real. It was probably fake to begin with.
Right.
And then you wrote it into the episode of your show. And I had just saw the video on the internet of this girl crapping the hot tub, and then was like,
"What are you searching for?"
In 2000,
back then, you just went on the website and clicked what they had.
Man, were you not a part
Wild
of
West?
Yeah, it was the wild
You
West.
never went looking for anything except boobs.
There was never a search engine for videos. No, it was basically just swiping at that time. Just you were getting whatever you got.
Yeah.
And a lot of what you got was not what you
wanted. Sometimes it was 2 girls and 1 guy.
Not a lot of times is what you want. But yeah, that was the point. I had already been losing interest in the show because it's bizarre and it's weird. It's in your face to be in your face, right?
Yeah, it's.
Well, isn't there like a serial killer?
There's a serial killer.
The Carver.
The Carver, I think, comes in season 2.
Okay.
And then season 3, like the whole cast hated season 3. And then,
is that the one where it turns out that he was just the doctor they hired? It was blatantly obvious.
Yeah. It was.
I remember being like, oh, that's him.
Yeah, the show was.
Oh, the psychologist guy?
Was he a psych? No, I thought they took him. Oh, didn't.
I don't know. I didn't get that far back into it, and I don't remember.
Didn't they have a fight, and then Matt went off to do his own thing, and then they got this other doctor in with.
And then he's the Carver.
And then he ended up being the Carver. I thought that was
spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, folks.
Maybe.
Tune in at 7.
But yeah, it was overly graphic in terms of the surgeries. So much so that the plastic surgeons have said, plastic surgery is not that bloody. But it is violent in that, you're taking a freaking hammer and smashing people's noses off. And that's what this show is.
It was terrible, man.
It is
brutal.
It's brutal. Yeah. And this is just basic cable FX. Like, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let's
I'd
get back
rather
to
watch
the
Pimple
boobs.
Popper.
Let's get back to the boobs. Very crazy. From what I saw, this show is actually slightly higher rated than American Horror Story as well. So at the time, huge success. And then I think your reaction is the same reaction that most people had, was just that show went off the rails.
Well, yeah, and that was the first show of that caliber. And again, that was when I first got cable.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first shows that
Is
we
this
ended
what
up
this
getting
is?
into. And it's like,
Spike TV and titties.
it was different, and it was shocking.
I think the problem with it is that it was trying to be shocking, and then eventually, what do you do with that?
Well, now everything's that, and then Dexter came along,
Yeah.
and all them shows.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
at least Dexter had layers and got better as it went.
For 3 seasons.
Well, season 4 is Lithgow.
Oh,
for
for
Dexter.
4 seasons.
Oh
For 4
yeah,
seasons.
the Trinity Killer. Yeah.
I have only watched through season 4. I have not continued
Yeah,
beyond.
don't.
Nope, I
Good
washed
job.
my hands of it.
You gotta finish.
Good
it
job.
up.
No, you don't. Trust me, you don't. I have great memories.
It jumped the Trinity Killer.
Did he also shart the tub? All right. So let's move on. Let's finish this episode up. I think we've pretty much covered television. I think this is the thing I enjoy the most about doing this is as we move forward like this, you see this transition from thing to thing to thing, like, you know, your punks of the world coming off of Jackass and how that kind of morphs, your MXCs just being wild and crazy.
Well, that's really when like reality TV started really taking over, like MTV2.
Yes.
Because I think the Simple Life came out that year too.
Simple Life was 2003 as well. Nicely done. And that was
Wow,
Fox. I'm
Jesse.
pretty sure that was Fox.
Well, they had Real World and Road TV.
That was all the way back to 92.
Oh, that was probably the first one, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, by 2003, I don't think music videos were on any MTV station.
No, it was almost all.
MTV2 was pretty good.
Yeah, we are
for that.
Until they brought in Paris Hilton.
VH1 Classic too. Didn't they have they started making their own separate channels for just music?
Yeah.
We should find out when they started doing the VH1 videos where people just talk
about the music videos.
Yeah. Yeah, we should figure out when that was, because that's all that channel became after that.
Right.
It's like the TNN to Spike TV. It's like VH1 just became like, we love the 80s.
Yep.
And the music.
And then they would just get like C-list celebrities, like Joey Buttfuck or whatever his name is. Joey Buttafuoco.
It's not Buttfuck, it's Buttafuoco.
It's Frankenstein.
Callie, oh God, I shouldn't talk about this because it's very localized. But Callie went to school with a kid whose name was DeRozier. He's now married, and she goes by Dossier. Like, no, you married into it, and it was DeRozier when I was with him in kindergarten. You're a Dossier. All right. Last on our list, and then let's get out of here. We'll move through these pretty quick. We're going to talk video games just real fast. We don't talk a ton about video games, but Jesse's here, so we'll punch some through real quick. You had said this was your lull for video games.
It was, yeah.
You were too busy watching titties on. You got basic cable.
Yeah. And we're like, wow.
That was almost a nipple.
That was, 03 was the year I got married, so.
Oh, yeah.
There it
That was
goes.
all.
You were trying to see boobs. So
we got to experience that together. That's one of the first things that we experienced.
You and
together
your
was
wife?
Watching Nip Tuck.
Oh, I thought you were finding nipples. So like, you have nipples too? Okay, anyways. Speaking of nipples, there are only a handful of games I want to talk about just real fast. I'm going to throw out a couple just rapid fire. SSX3.
Best
snowboarding game ever made.
There you go. Jesse, you got a take on SSX3?
Yeah, I mean, I've played it. It is, definitely one of the best.
Yep. Took your idea where SSX Tricky went off the rails, crazy, over the top. SSX3 was like, well, what if we did that on a whole mountain?
Yeah, just one mountain, and that's your course, and you could ride from the top to the bottom, and it'll take you 45 minutes.
Yeah, which is what actual going on a mountain is like. I grew up here in Brainerd, Minnesota. All we have is, they call it Mount Ski Gull.
Yeah.
It's a hill.
Elevation 200.
200.
200. But I was talking to somebody that goes and travels, to like Montana and Utah and stuff, and then out to the East Coast as well. And they said, like, you put on headphones and just ride for 45 minutes. Like, that's a run. And I was like, that I could get into that. That would be cool. The idea of just zipping down potentially too fast a hill and then going right back up and doing it again. It's like the third time it's like it's a water slide, right? Like, first of all, I'm going to get hurt, like this is a little, it's not too steep, but like if someone who doesn't actually ski or anything, it's like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? What is the point here of me getting hurt at the end of this day?
Yeah.
And enter video games.
But that's what SSX3 had going for it. It was the longer idea. So that's one. I have Beyond Good and Evil, which is a very highly rated game. It's basically a Zelda game, but done a little bit differently on the PS2. And a fun little story, good little game. I recommend it. Check it out. We talked about Skies of Arcadia. I'm sorry, not Skies of Arcadia.
Crimson Skies.
Crimson Skies. Skies of Arcadia did also come out in 2003 on the GameCube.
Nerd alert!
Crimson Skies we talked about in the 2001 episode because that is, I think, my favorite Xbox game. It didn't come out till 2003. Jesse, take on Crimson Skies.
Yeah, that's a great game.
It is. It is a very fun game.
Games like that, or even a TV show, anything that takes like an alternate reality kind of take on things, and that was like 1930s, I believe.
Yeah, 1930s, like, the barnstorming.
Yeah, airplane barnstorming. Dog fighting.
Zeppelins. Yep. So many Zeppelins.
Yep, there were a lot of Zeppelins in that one.
I think the only thing I remember about that game is shooting at a Zeppelin for 5 minutes until it blows up.
Yeah, no, that was a great game.
But no, it was a really good game.
Very cool game. And then I'm a huge fan of the GameCube because there are 3 from the GameCube that I really like. F-Zero GX, which is
hard as fuck.
It's so goddamn hard. It's so fucking hard, but I love games that are super hard like that. And I spent a lot of time mastering that game. I tried to go back and play it again, and I can't. I could not. My old man brain.
You're just not fast enough.
No, my old man brain could not handle it. God, my ex-wife used to make fun of me because at this point I was still in college. I took our recliner and put it right up next to the TV, like a cockpit. It was sitting right next to the TV, playing this game for hours. It's gorgeous. It's one of the best looking games still. And again, was on the GameCube. But then also from a racing standpoint, Mario Kart Double Dash.
That's a great one. Yeah, and that's what, the third Mario Kart game?
Yep. If you're not counting the Game Boy Advance one, I don't know when that one came out.
Super Circuit one or whatever. Yeah. I don't remember if that was before or after. It was right around the same time. It would be right around the same time.
Double Dash is my favorite Mario Kart game ever because you got 2 guys. You got the guy driving the kart and you got the guy on the back, which is in charge of throwing the weapons and stuff. But in this one, you actually have the 2 characters have special weapons as well. So there was actually a little bit of strategy to who you picked and why, and the combos you picked had an effect on how fast you would go, the type of weapons that you had. There was just way more depth to the actual selection of your character, which made it way more fun.
Yeah, that's definitely where that game was like, whoa, this is... Really could see what the future of what you could do with a Mario Kart game would become. Yeah.
Very cool. And then lastly, Zelda WindWaker. Zelda WindWaker has the unfortunate history of being the game that
came after Ocarina of Time.
And Nintendo made the mistake of showing footage of a realistic looking Zelda game on the GameCube, which could have looked really, really cool. So people are super hyped, super excited for it. And then
cell shading,
as Nintendo's one to do, went into hiding. And then the next time people saw the game, Link is a short little chibi character that is cell shaded in a completely different type of look and feel to the game, which ironically then made people not want to play the game. And it's the best Zelda game. It is the best Zelda game. I think people can argue that now that maybe Breath of the Wild is better. But I will say hands down, it is my favorite Zelda game. There's just a sense of wonder to it. There's the art style still to this day holds up. It is a beautiful game. There's a lot more expression to it. And then the sequence at the end of this game, when you actually go and spoiler alert, kill Ganon at the end of the game,
how does he keep coming back?
Magic.
Oh, you gotta watch. You gotta watch and play these games. It's not even just Magic. They're doing the Marvel universe where. Well, wait a minute though. If you
they actually disappear.
yeah, if you're in Back to the Future and Biff takes the book, now we got Biff World. So now there's a whole different series of Biff Worlds, which is funny because I hate that. I actually now they just announced that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
So fucking stupid.
I'm over this. I was over Marvel after Endgame.
Yeah, the employee of mine and I were talking about that for like 10 minutes last night. Like, what?
So nothing ever matters.
No,
that's the problem with multiverse. Nothing ever matters.
Crap, yeah.
Well, what I said was, you're at a split point here.
Yes.
Where everything's kind of tapered off.
Yep.
And you need to do something, and you're either going to do something that's going to excite people,
Yep.
or you're going to do something that's going to make people be like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
So making this decision is now everybody's balling up at this junction.
Who's it going to be?
And what's
what are we
going to
gonna
happen?
do?
What do you mean?
Yes.
How is this going to work?
It's the same thing as all the other nonsense. So he goes through that whole arc from Iron Man, which is the start of this whole thing, to the end of the Avengers stuff. And that's a whole character arc. But wait, there's more. Mm-hmm. You can just reach back into the multiverse and do whatever the fuck you want. And that's stupid.
Should have just called it in.
Should have, well,
I mean, be an Iron Man like that. Yeah, just
and that's what it's
end
gonna
your
be.
run.
That's what it's going to be.
Like
he's going to be a version of Iron Man that in his world is bad or goes bad because something happened to him that switched some little switch that then makes him.
Oh, that's going to be.
I guarantee it.
The story.
I guarantee it. I guarantee that's what it is. Because how else do you have it be the same fucking dude?
Well, it's the multiverse.
I don't know.
Anything's possible.
So Gabe, to get back to Zelda, that's how.
So how is how?
because literally anything can happen.
Anything can happen whenever. Sometimes you're in the sky. Sometimes the land's underwater. In this case, the land's underwater, and that it is kind of the cool part of this game is you're clearly the world has flooded. And you're up on top, and you're going around from island to island to island, and then there's
Zelda Waterworld.
It is totally Zelda Waterworld, which is why I love it. Great looking game, highly recommend it. Hopefully they release the HD remake onto Switch or on the next system or whatever it is, because I want to play it again.
I'm sure they will. They're doing that with everything
for
else.
sure. Jesse, wrap it up for us. Final take on 2003. How do you feel?
It was a year.
It was the year you discovered nipples, so that's nice.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, quite a few things that we'll never forget.
Yeah, it is an interesting. I would say, like we said, 2000 is such a weird point because it really was the starting of a lot of this stuff. Now we've reached that acceleration point where now we're getting shot out of a rocket. So we had a couple little things that are lighting the fires, getting us into this new world. And then you get the nip tucks of the world, which are like, hey, hold on, we can probably slow the fuck down just a little tiny bit. Scott, take on 2003.
KOTOR.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes, Knights of the Old Republic.
I played the fuck out of that game.
Yes, that if you want to go Xbox, that's
game.
one of the best Xbox games.
They made 2 of those.
They did make 2 of them, and there's been rumored that they're gonna make a
heard that.
third,
Yep,
or at
I
least
have heard that.
remaster the old ones. But
That'd be great either way.
Okay, nerd
still
alert.
Nothing has happened.
Nerd alert.
Nerd alert!
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars RPGs. Gabe, save us. Last take.
I wasn't a big fan of 2003.
Oh,
I didn't. There wasn't much there. Not a lot of substance.
Were you not entertained by the bombings,
With
the shock and the awe?
I was shocked.
I think that has to be the name of this episode, Shock and Awe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of 2003. However, part 2 will be coming up next week, and that is the movies. I threw out Identity, so we'll be talking about that. That is one that I absolutely want to talk about. But
I think I wrote an essay, or I think I wrote a short story in my creative writing class. Nice. So I basically just stole that movie, and I got an A+.
Oh, nice!
I wrote it in 2 hours the morning before. I woke up and it's like, shit, I got to write something.
So then they get to a motel in the rain.
That was John Cusack, right?
John Cusack, Ray Liotta.
Oh, that was a great movie.
It was a great movie. So we'll be talking about that and many, many other things. Folks, you still got opportunity to send things our way. Really appreciate when you do so. We'll try and give you a shout out from any movie that you'd like to see from 2003. Exciting stuff. Jesse, we could maybe give you one more go. You want to go round 3?
Hell, why not?
Okay, Jesse, it is the first
the trilogy.
time we will have the trilogy of Jesse. I think it's just fitting. It's fitting to have you come back to finish it off. So throw some movies at us. Anything, Gabe, what's the movie you want to talk about?
I don't know any movies from 2003 at the moment, but I'll send one out.
That's why I did it.
Actually, Matchstick Men.
Matchstick Men. Good
a
flick.
little Nick Cage flick.
Oh, imagine that. Imagine that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here. Again, shoot that stuff over, and we'll get after that next week in the part 2. Until then, we're done. I think this will be the first time we have done 3 in a row with a guest.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
But I like having you with us.
Since we had the 5-some foursome.
The 5-some foursome, though, that was so inconsistent with Keith. I don't think...
Yeah, I mean, even the first, 3 episodes. Yeah. Within the first 3 episodes, we had to get our sister on.
Yeah,
I
think she was on 7. I think she was the 7th. Gabe showed up episode 3.
Okay.
Keith may have made 1, 2, and 3. Maybe. I don't think so.
Yeah, I was never in the sweat lodge. I showed up after you came out to the table.
Yeah, it got too hot in the sweat lodge. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think, yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely enjoy this.
Yeah,
good.
It's good. Yeah, it's good stuff. And movies that's the good one. To me, movies is the best. It is the hardest for me to edit. It takes the longest, but I think they are the best episodes because there's just so much good stuff.
Yeah, I wish I would have got in at when you were still in the 80s.
Oh, we'll go back.
We're going back.
Are
you? We're going back.
Oh,
yeah.
I have got to do, yeah. Oh.
I think we're going to go to
nonstop.
I think our goal is to go to 2007 or 2008, I think.
Yeah, let's get Scott to 22, 23.
Yeah.
But then let's get the hell out of here because I was already grown up. I already had a kid in 2003.
Yeah,
Pretty much anything after 10, I hate life.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting way too close to that.
I don't remember most of 2008 to 2020.
Yeah. So we'll jump all the way back to early 80s, maybe go a little bit before. But yeah, because then when you get 81, 82, 83, 84, those are interesting.
89 is the pinnacle.
Well, but that's one of the things I want to do is I want us to go and then lap back around. Mm-hmm. So once we get,
do you want to do focus on one like we did LXG?
Yeah, I want to go in and go okay, well now it's been 2 years since we've talked about this. What are your takes on it now? Because I will say, I am surprised as an adult that my tastes are now finally changing. I have been a man baby for my entire life, and now in the last 2 years, my tastes are very much changing.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. A lot of things I'm finally why did I ever like this?
Yeah, which is interesting, and I would like to get back to some of those where we were starry-eyed. Oh yeah, this was great. When we were kids, this was great. And now come back as a jaded old man and just talk shit. That's what the listeners
There's
want.
Too many is in that.
What is wrong with you?